As we've talked about, this is a hard concept, and we know that. So we're gonna give you some tips for how to get it right and how to sustain it over time. The first mistake managers make is waiting too long or looking for the perfect moment to have the soul of the role conversation. Davi was an engineering manager, and he had brought a new person onto his team to backfill someone who had left unexpectedly. And he felt like, the person has too much on their plate, there's too much going on, I'll do the soul of the role later. But what ended up happening is the person started to feel like they were swimming in the role pretty early on, and it led to some uncomfortable conversations and getting some key things wrong about the role that could have been avoided if he had had that conversation right from the get-go. The next mistake managers make, and this is the big one, is we direct the answer without realizing it. So remember, it's a conversation. It would be easy for you to just write down on a piece of paper what you think, but that skips the most important part of creating alignment. Alignment is about a relationship where both people feel heard, where both people have a voice. And as the manager, as the person with more structural authority, it's that much more important that you let them talk, that you hear their perspective, and you don't overly influence it with your positions and your opinions about what the role is responsible for. One of the things that's likely to happen is that your version of the soul of the role and their version of the soul of the role at first are gonna be really different. That's okay. That's why you're doing this process, is so that you can highlight where you're misaligned today, and you can have a conversation, multiple conversations, to close the gap between the two. If there's a universal rule about all things people leadership and leadership in general and being a good manager, is that the work is never done. And that's all the more true when it comes to soul of the role and achieving that place of good alignment. It's a perpetual process, it's ongoing. So the mistake that you could make is to think that you ran the process once and then it's done. It just doesn't work that way. Your job as a people leader is to maintain the culture, to fix the things that are broken today, to create a vision for where the team is going in the future, and to have all the conversations that need to happen to make sure people feel aligned, that they have a voice, and that their concerns are heard over time, while you keep everyone on track to the company goals and your team objectives. The easiest way to avoid that mistake is what we talked about earlier, using your one-on-ones. Bring the soul of the role conversation back to the forefront. It's very likely that you're going to need to come back over time and bring oxygen back into the conversation and elevate it back to that good place of alignment.